Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good night. I hope this finds you well with everything we're doing day by day. I just want to let you know that there's no necessary to make this constantly day by day. Maybe for some of you it's hard to do all of this day by day. So don't worry, you have time. You can do it any day you want. To picture how this works, the reason why we are doing this day by day is just to imagine that we are all like a choir of people all singing, and suddenly if you get in the middle and you want to start to sing, you just go inside the choir and you start to sing and match with the others, and suddenly you start to be in the same rhythm. So don't worry. Don't worry. So remember that for those who are following constantly every day, today is the day of the pineal gland, which is related to the third eye. I wrote today in the blog about the pineal gland and the eyes, and I guess that today was a bit clearer than the other day. The information more straight, but I want to share some information anyway so we can all be in the same page. So remember that yesterday we worked with the hypophysis gland, which is in the center of the brain at the height of the ears, and today we are going to work with the pineal gland, which is a bit in front and upper and is in the middle of the eyes and the center, like around here. The shape of this gland is and the name of this gland is related with the shape of it, which is like the seed of a pine, the tree. Well, so this is why we relate that seed also with the divine, because the pine was like the tree that connected with the heaven because of its shape. That connection meant that tree was the tree of life, or the tree to the divine. So the seed of it would be the aspect that allows us to be connected with the divine. Things to have in mind about the pineal gland. This gland is biologically related to waking up and going to sleep. Biologically, is the gland that generates the hormones that helps us to go to sleep, that gives us this willing of going to sleep, that when we are exhausted, when we want to lie in bed to rest, and also is the gland that helps us to be awake, that it gives us the will to make stuff, to wake up in the morning to do our things. Is the gland related to those two things? So this is why spirituality take this gland as the one that awakens the consciousness, because it's the awaken of consciousness. Okay, but usually we think that this gland is the one that only awakes, but it's not. It's also the one that brings you to the unconscious, is the one also that brings you to sleep. To sleep as an aware being. So basically what this gland will do is to regulate our awakening process. And in order to understand how this works, I would like to demystify, to take the myth away, I don't know how to say it properly in English, to take the myth away of some of the spiritual things that we believe from this gland. So one of our beliefs about this gland in spirituality is to think that this gland is the one that we have to awaken, to be connected with the spirit, to be able to see other dimensions, and to be connected with the divine. And one of the myths is that we need to have it constantly awakened so we can be spiritual. So this is one of the keys of the spirituality today, to activate the pineal gland. Let's have in mind that for sure all this is true, because what we do with this gland is to perceive the reality in a different way. This means that we have these two eyes to observe the outside, and it brings the information from the outside to the inner eye, the third eye inside. And then the third eye changes its idea and projects, when it opens its eyes, a new idea of what is outside. It's the gland that is related with the concept that helps us to perceive the world in a different way. because it's the one related with the ideas, is the one that perceives the ideas and interprets the reality in different ideas. One of the myths that I would like for you to understand is that when we say activate the pineal gland, what we are talking about is to expand our perception of reality, to open ourselves to a new conception, to watch a different dimension of reality. But we need to understand what a dimension is. A dimension is a perception of our reality. For example, this here is just a dimension. It's the dimension that we can only see. But when we change the perception from our inner perspective of reality, we open a little bit more and a little bit more. So we can see a different dimension of our reality. So we could be more wide open. So sometimes when we think about activating the pineal gland, we think that suddenly we will see angels or seraphims flying in the sky, but it's not like this. What you are doing with the activation of the pineal gland is to understand better the reality you live in. Sometimes it is just about to understand better the position of another person that lives with you. Maybe you are arguing and suddenly you have an activation of the pineal gland and suddenly you say, oh, now I understand why that person is mad, not fairies and angels. This horizontal our reality, then we start to open the other one, which is vertical. So we start to see these other beings, like or whatever, from other dimensions. So this is how we must understand the pineal gland. It's something that awakens a little bit more in the perception of our own reality. One of the things that we need to understand is that the most important thing to say about the activation of this gland is that it's not just a moment, a specific moment or a therapy that activates the pineal gland. Of course, it helps because it helps you to improve, but it's not just a therapy or the moment. It's about having a whole process. So, for example, for the pineal gland, it's about to what we eat, what minerals we have inside, we inherit, and sleep a lot, because we need to sleep a lot in order to activate the pineal gland because it works better. So we need to rest, and not just to sleep, rest, which is different. Rest, very calm and relaxed. One of the ways we have to understand that the pineal gland is being activated is when we used to say, and for sure you have said that in your life, I don't see this as I used to do before. I'm looking at this situation in a different way as I used to. When you do that statement, it's because your pineal gland is working, is doing a change. Okay. One of the things that maybe you know for sure is that you can see this because the kids had better imagination, they rest much more, they can imagine a lot, and they are very open to change. They perceive very well the new situations and they adapt and they learn faster. Okay, so this is why they usually say that in order to be more close to the spirit, you must a kid to act, to live like a child. Another one of the myths of this gland is that we need to activate it, to hold it activated constantly, okay, to be connected with the spirit. And this is related with this. If we understood that the pineal gland, in order to be better, to be activated and be able to awaken better every day, it needs to rest properly. So in the spiritual way, it also, in order to be more aware and conscious, it needs to also enjoy to be unconscious. It is kind of absurd because for sure we're here to work for the consciousness, and suddenly I am saying that in order to be more aware and conscious, we also need to be unconscious. So how do you take that? How do you eat it? In order to understand how this works, we need to understand this. To be aware and conscious about everything that exists, we need to learn how to enjoy what exists. For the spirit, to become unconscious is like go to sleep. So it's like rest, like enjoying like a kid and play with the reality. So it was that we usually as humans used to divide everything in two different concepts, like if they were one against the other. So they are constantly like against for us. Like if I am conscious, I cannot be unconscious. Or if I am awake, I cannot be sleeping. But these two concepts are correlative to each other. They need each other because I wouldn't be awakened if I wouldn't have sleep before. And because I am awake, and I will need to rest because I cannot be awakened constantly. So the same way, if I am conscious, I also need that conscience to. What we have to understand about this is that we are not doing this to get awakened and suddenly just being awakened constantly all the time. We are doing this so the next time when we go to sleep, we can rest. We can rest relaxed. But the reason why we don't go to sleep again and we want to be awakened constantly in our consciousness is we have been dreaming nightmares. Okay? We are living nightmares constantly. We are not resting. We are like nervous constantly when we sleep. So this is one of the keys that we have to understand, that we are not doing this to be constantly awakened, that we are doing this so the next time we can rest when we sleep, so we can enjoy to be unconscious. Because this is constantly a cycle, and someday we will have to go back to sleep, maybe in 2000 years, but we will. So we cannot live our lives like if we are not going to go to sleep again. You need to live your day knowing that you will have to go and sleep and rest. And these are some of the concepts and myths that I wanted to clarify so we could all be on the same page when we work with the pineal gland. I hope you could understand what I said. Today we are going to work with the vibration SAE. It's not SAE or SAE or is SAE. The statement of today is related to this sound, which means I am the consciousness path, or I am the path of consciousness. The code of today is related with the sound, the vibration O. And it says, in the great explosion of the cosmos, the subtle energies become atoms, and these molecules, and these minerals, that by expanding will create galaxies, stars, suns, planets, cells, organisms, seeds, plants, creatures, animals, living beings in all its potentialities. So let's go to connect with the pineal. So what we are going to do today is try to anchor the I am in the physical aspect, which is this gland. The physical aspect of the consciousness, which is this gland. Let's sit comfortable. So as always, we start doing a massage and caressing the body, giving thanks to it for holding me here, anchored in the matter. Stretch the body, yawn. Lift the weight of the shoulders, the arms fall down, and I focus only in my breathing. I become aware of the oxygen coming inside my nose to my lungs, my heart, my blood, every organ and muscle. Take a deep breath, the energy running through my muscles, organs, and my skin. Take a deep breath and recognize in this energy one that is fresh and the other one that is hot. And recognize in the fresh energy, like the moonlight, the energy of all that we have worked with our emotional level. And in the warm light, recognize, like if it is the sun, all the mental energy that we have worked. I feel them in my skin. I recognize my own body as a temple, illuminated by the light of the sun and the light of the moon. Take a deep breath. The highest roof of this temple. I take my hands and go to the sides of my head. Go through all my face as if it is the first time that I touch it. And inside the cupola, I find a candle where lies the light of the inner temple. I recognize that this light, this candle, is the one that brights to the outside, is the light of my soul that watches everything that surrounds me. It's in this light where lies all the ideas and perceptions that I have from the outer world. Take a deep breath. I download information in the light of the I Am to enlight the fire, and with my vibration until feel the light coming from my eyes like a lighthouse. Pronounce it faster and faster as I feel the fire brighter and lighten the fire of this candle. I activate with my sound the light of my I Am. I can see with clarity. I can see the truth. I can see with consciousness. For I am the dream and the dreamer. I am the path to consciousness, the path of consciousness. Take a deep breath. I take my hands to my third eye, touching it with the tips of my fingers. I recognize that in order to be awake, I must sleep well. I become that in order to see the divinity, I must enjoy this reality. And softly take a deep breath and start to open your third eye with your fingers from the center and moving your hands to the side softly. Repeat if necessary. Breathe in and open. Once more. JOUR and open. And I take my hands to the heart. And I recognize that here and now, I am the path to consciousness. I am the path of consciousness. I am the path of consciousness. I honor and thank my body for being this temple and this path. Start to spread this consciousness from my heart to each part of my body by caressing, massaging, stretching, and yawning. All good? As always, if you have something to discharge in energy, if you are barefoot, is better. And as we have worked with the pineal gland, just sleep all you can. Okay? Let's meet together tomorrow to work on the thyroid. Just something that I wrote and I forgot as a simple task for today. So as a task, just 5 minutes, watch yourself in the mirror, but straight to the black part of the eye until you start to not to see your face and nothing around. Just watch that and don't think much. There's nothing else to do than that. Then just watch to your pupil and to pupil, it says, to the black part, and stare until everything vanishes. Okay, that's it. Don't think, don't do anything, no other purpose but that. It's just a tiny practice. And in another moment, you go more time, and you just allow your information to come. Don't look for the information. Allow the information to come. Thank you. Rest.